welcome to another classic guitar video. Tonight's guitar is a 2004 Art in Lutherie, which is a Canadian manufacturer. It is a kind of a semi-rare, hard to find, uncommon cherry burst. You don't see too many of these. It's a pretty cool guitar. I like it. So I just got this in literally hours ago. And it's all in satin finish, so there's not a whole lot I need to do to it, and there's already new strings on it. So I just need to clean it up a little bit and do a full basic setup on it, and we'll get right into it. And before we do that, tonight's show is brought to you by Guitar Center of Glendora. Really great people. Please show them your support and buy all your parts, accessories, strings, guitars, basses, amplifiers, keyboards from them. They're really good people. I used to work for the same exact store when they were a few miles away down the other street. Back in the early 90s, I worked for that store. Really great store. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying it. They're really good people, so check them out. So let's just go ahead and get straight away with this. And here it is in all its glory, so to speak. Here it is. Again, it is a Art in Lutherie, Canadian made. It's a wild cherry, and it's 95% Canadian wood. And it's actually made of real cherry wood. I believe the sides and the back are cherry wood. The top, I believe, is something else. It could be cherry wood, actually, because Art and Lutherie had kind of a thing about if something was cherry burst, they'd use cherry wood. If something was a darker color, it would be mahogany, and so forth. So we don't have to do a whole lot to this guitar and a lot of polishing because it's in satin finish. But I'll polish the pick guard and the frets and fretboard and the tuners. And that's about it. And then we'll get started with this sucker. And this shouldn't take a whole lot of time to do. That's why I'm getting a very late start on this video. Just because there's not a lot to do with it, and I don't need to plug it into display. It's not an acoustic electric, it is just a straight acoustic. So we'll give it a quick test play and make sure there's no tuning issues. Plays. What can I say? It's an acoustic. Be nice if it would have been nice if it's an acoustic electric, but that's okay. It is kind of a rare guitar, not a rare guitar, but a rare color. All the information that I've Googled and Yahoo'd, there's not too many of these cherry burst around. So they're pretty cool. I like them. Not a particularly high-end valuable guitar. I mean, I think I'll probably get $280 to $300 for it. It's just what's called an end-user guitar. It's something that an end-user can afford to buy. So that's what this is. So let's get started. And we'll go ahead and get started with tightening the tuners and whatnot. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we go. And they're just regular tuners, they're not Shalers or anything special. The guitar is 100% stock, bone stock. Bone stock. And that's fine with me. I kind of like it when a guitar is bone stock, because then if there is a modification that I want to do to it, then I can. As you guys know, I like my tuners pretty tight, so they act as kind of a locking machine head, and it'll stay in tune easier. And you know, some people have their machine heads set so loose that if you breathe on it, it'll go out of tune, and I don't like that. I can't tell you how many people bring me a guitar that they say they cannot tune or keep in tune, and the primary reason is their tuners are loose. So that's the reason why. So we'll go ahead and check the strap buttons and make sure they're nice and tight. Ooh, they definitely are. So I just got this guitar in today, literally hours ago. And I traded it, actually. Part traded it for 3 guitars for a Epiphone limited edition custom shop Joe Pass, through my friend Kevin, who wanted that guitar for his personal collection. So I traded him for this, and I traded him for a vintage 1960s Les Paul Jr. with a gold foil pickup in it. And I traded him for another guitar. Well, this guitar. So all 3 of those guitars. So the Les Paul, this guitar. Oh, and a Harmonia. It's kind of a 335 Gibson or Epiphone 335 style guitar, called a Harmonia. And it may or may not be a prototype or something, because there's 0 information on it anywhere. It is not serialized or anything. So it could be a prototype or a one-off or low-run guitar, because if you Google it, there's nothing on Google, there's nothing on Yahoo, there's no mention of this particular guitar at all anywhere ever. So we'll work on that guitar probably during the week next week. So let's go ahead and detune it and finish tightening the tuners. Again, everything is in satin finish. The body, the back of the neck, and the headstock, so I don't need to polish anything other than the pick guard and the tuners. And the frets and fretboard, of course. Like it when I do that. It's kind of funny. So, kind of funny to do that. Gotta have a little fun when you're working on these guitars, right? Otherwise, why do it, right? So we're going to go ahead and tighten the jam nuts on the tuners, and they are really, really loose. And I'm using the wrong wrench. So we want to use the right wrench for this job. There we go. Yeah, they're pretty loose. Most people, when they're having tuning issues, they really neglect the tightness of the jam nuts on the tuners and the machine heads themselves. And I'm telling you, 99% of tuning issues are due to that. Because people will say, well, they either can't tune it or it won't stay in tune. You know, they'll say they put it in their case or gig bag, and every time they put it in and take it out, it's out of tune. Well, you know, when you're taking it out of a gig bag or a case, you know, the headstock is brushing by the tuners. So if they're really loose, they're going to go like this and then get out of tune. So you don't want that. So you want them fairly tight. I like to tighten mine pretty tight, not to the point of breaking, obviously, but I want them pretty tight. And I've never had a complaint by somebody after working on their guitar saying that, hey, I can't keep this guitar in tune. Never once, ever. In my 35 plus years of working on guitars. So, with that being said, let's expose the frets and fretboard, and then we can more effectively tune it. Now, a lot of people will say, well, how can I polish the frets and fretboard? Because to see that this part of the strings are still a little bit in the way. So what I do is I have these nifty little clips that you can get from pretty well any hardware store or office supply store, and what you do is you clip the strings, and then you in turn very carefully clip the string to the sound hole. See? Now you got the strings out of the way. And you do it again to the other side. You be very careful so you don't scratch the surface. And now we can take pre-pictures and then polish the frets and fretboard, and away we go. So we will go forthwith and polish the frets and fretboard, because that's pretty much the only thing we have to do to polish, except for the tuners and the pickguard. The pickguard has a little bit of strum marks on it, but there's no strum marks on the body, just the pickguard. So I can reduce those pick mark scratches probably by anywhere from 20 to 80%. And obviously I can't sell this guitar as new, and I'm not trying to, because it is a 2004. But it is in very, 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 very good original condition. There's probably less than 5% fret wear from the first, second, third, fourth frets. The rest of the frets have pretty well zero fret wear, less than 1%. Or less than 0.5%. So here we go. All right, here we go, folks. Okay. I'll take a fresh rag, move the camera view, and then we will go forth. Fretboard is rosewood, by the way. Genuine rosewood, mother of pearl inlays. Genuine. Oh yeah, awesome sauce on that. Okay, so now we will do the in between the frets. We'll get this guitar done, I think, inside of an hour. Not that I'm trying to break any records, but you know, I wasn't feeling well at the end of today and needed a respite and got a late start. And I got a wild hair and wanted to do this guitar today because I wanted to get the guitar listed back for sale by or before the weekend. So I wanted to make sure there wasn't any problems with a tuner or bridge pin or anything like that to hinder me from doing that and having to wait a week to order parts or whatever. So we got a wild hair and decided to go ahead and start to do this guitar tonight. Because barring any problems, this guitar will be very easy to do. Very quick and very easy. With little to no effort. Well, not no effort, but little effort. Okay, we're more than halfway done. And I need to take a little bathroom break. I need to go to the little guitarist's room and get a fresh drink, and then we'll finish this guitar in no time at all. And then I will watch my, end this video and watch my movie and TV show for the night, which is, I've watched the first episode of John Turin's Gold Rush, they gave him his own show from the Gold Rush TV shows. So I watched the first episode last night, and I don't know what the movie will be tonight that I'm gonna watch. I don't know. I'm kind of in the mood for I don't know, maybe Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider movie. I feel like I need to watch a butt kicker movie, and that's kind of a butt kicker movie. So maybe that. But again, this is a 2004 Art in Lutherie from Canada in cherry burst with cherry top, and the rest is 95% woods from Canada. It's Canadian made guitar, and they're really good guitars. This is not the first one I've ever owned. I've owned others before, and they're pretty good. I've had ones with the cutaway acoustics and other models, so that they're pretty cool guitars. They're not high-end guitars. I mean, they're usually in around about the $200 to $400 range. Used, or good used, or new, or NOS is what I meant to say. This one's a 2004. I'm pretty sure, according to the serial number, it's an 04, so I think the serial number is from 2004. I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty good at deciphering serial numbers. But I'm pretty sure it's a 2004. Oh man, I really have to stop for a break in a minute. I mean, I really do. But before I do that, I'll take pictures before and after with fret polish. I need to open up a window. I think it's almost 80 degrees in here. I'll do that next, and then I'll take a bathroom break and get a fresh drink. And we will finish this bad boy up and have it listed for sale tomorrow for $300. It is a fair and good price for this, considering new strings and professional setup and everything that you see that I'm doing to the guitar. So that's a pretty smoking deal. So I will be right back. Okay, fresh drink. Hansen's soda. You don't see or hear of Hansen's too much anymore these days. Anyway, I took my picture, so we'll sit down. And I'll give you a gander at it in just a sec. Whoops. And take a look at those frets and fretboard. Ignore this part. Just look at the frets and fretboard. Here, I'll make it easier for you guys. Sometimes I cover it up just to make it a little easier for you to see just the fretboard, the shine from the frets and fretboard. So that is beautiful. I don't need to do any fret leveling or dressing or crowning or edging. It's already edged. I mean, they have a really nice rounded edge. That's one thing I like about these Art and Lutheries, is because if you look at the edge of the where the fretboard meets the neck, it's extremely rounded off, and there's nothing to catch your fingers. Even if you take a very delicate rag and run it across it, it doesn't catch. There's nothing to catch. So they're very well done on the fretwork. Very cool. So we'll go ahead and remove my clips. You want to take them off carefully so you don't scratch any of the surface of the guitar. And I just want to test just by finger and make sure the pins are in good. I'm going to go ahead and give a little tap with the hammer on the bridge pins and the bridge at some point. Just to, just to say I did, if you will. And so this guitar is not going to take much work to get going, because I don't need, like I said, I don't need to polish the body. Just the pick guard and the tuners. And then I will take my rag, which is already kind of impregnated with residual polish and wax, and just take some of the fingerprints off of it, because I touched it today and my friend Kevin touched it today, so there's fingerprints on it and whatnot. So we'll do that to the top of the body, the sides, the back of the neck, the front and back of the headstock. So, and then we will be able to call this guitar done. The guitar is 100% original, right down to the bridge, the secondary bridge, the bridge pins, the tuners. The strings are new, of course, but other than that, and I see I've reduced the scratching on the pickguard by about 20-25%. So I'm gonna go ahead and polish it again, and maybe even a third time. Because the more times you polish it, the better it gets. So I just go in a circular motion, counterclockwise, and then I go clockwise, then I go diagonal one way, and then diagonal the other direction, and then back to counterclockwise and then clockwise. Clockwise, counterclockwise again to finish it. And we'll stand up to look at the scratches on the pickguard. Yeah, I mean they're still there, but I think I've reduced them. I've reduced them 30-35%. Maybe 40%, 35-40%. And I can polish on it another 2 or 3 times, maybe make it better. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and look inside the guitar and make sure there's no huge dust bunnies or anything. I already blew it out with my compressor earlier. But I just want to make sure. And there is a label up under where the neck connects to the body. And it's just got a maple leaf on it, and it says something to the effect of handmade in, oh my, the little printing is so small. Handmade in La Partie in Princeville, Quebec, Canada. Fat A La Main La. Part of it's in French, so I'm really desecrating the French part of it, but but it's handmade in Canada. And the adjustment for the truss rod is in there, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick once over. Make sure it's all copacetic. You want to go loosey and tighty just to check it. You want to check it first. You don't want to crank one way or the other. You want to check it. So you want to go, you know, a 16th or a 32nd of a turn. And it was kind of semi-loose. So I'm going to take it out. You always want to make sure you're getting it in the Allen hole. So that way you don't mar up any finish of the guitar. For some reason I can't get it back in. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. You just want to kind of jiggle it and make sure it's in its hole. And that's all the adjustment the truss rod needs. You want it kind of between snug and tight, if you will, but not overly tight, because you don't want it, like a taco. You know, you don't want it bowing too badly. You just want a good adjustment on it. A factory adjustment to slightly over factory adjustment by maybe 5%, 8%, maybe even 10%. Because the guitar is 15 years old now, so it's going to need that little bit extra over and beyond the factory setting for that. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the top of the headstock so I can put tension on the strings again. And I'm not going to polish the headstock because it's satin finish. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of wipe it and give it a general wipe down, if you will. And then we go from there. Then we'll dry lube the nut. You want to press hard down on a satin finish guitar, otherwise you'll put striations of your polishing on it. So you don't want to do that. You just want to clean the fingerprints off and any dust off, and that's it. You just kind of want to use the weight of your hand and finger and weight of the rag, and that's about it. That's all you want to go. That's all you want to go. You don't want to go crazy with it, because then you'll have issues. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little tension back on the tuners, on the strings rather, so that way when I flip it over, the strings aren't, flopping all over the place. because the strings are new, so I'm going to keep them in relatively good condition. So I'm not trying to tune it back up or anything. I'm just trying to put a modicum of tension back on. See, that's about all. That's about all I'm looking for. You want to make sure your strings are in the bridge groove and they haven't slid out or off or away or anything like that. You want to make sure the winds on your strings aren't bird's nesting on the tuning peg. You know, you don't want them overlap and then underlap and then overlap and underlap, because then that can cause problems with keeping your guitar tuned. So you want all the winds under each other, you know, like a piano. If you look at a piano tuning peg, all the winds are under each other. All the winds are under each other, like this, and then like this, and like this, and like this. Not on top of each other, and then vice versa, and one on top, one on... No, you don't want that, because that will create problems with keeping your guitar in tune. And you don't want that. So you just kind of give kind of a press down on the edge of your, if you happen to have one of these string winders, kind of a press down about every turn, turn and a half or 2 turns. Look at it and visually see that all the winds are going under each other. And just put a little bit of tension on it, and that's it. That's all you need to do. You don't need to go fancy on it. And I'm going to take my little piece of Scotch-Brite and just kind of brighten up the string. The 2 unwound strings, just a little bit. They are new, but I'm going to put just a little bit of brightness on the string. Just a little bit of brightness. And that's it. Again, you want to make sure all the winds are under each other. Both of you can take and push under. And then you want to when you start to put a little bit more tension on it, you want to make sure that each string is in its groove for the nut and the bridge. And you let go of it. And then it's ready to tune once you're done with your polishing and adjusting and all that good stuff. Oh, I know what I was going to watch tonight. I was going to watch the season finale of the TV show The Orville. That's what I'm going to watch tonight, the TV show. And the movie's probably either going to be Hackers. You know, the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie. I've been wanting to see that for a while. And I watch that probably 3 or 4 times a year, but I kind of want to see it. Or maybe one of the Tomb Raider movies. But I am going to watch the season finale of The Orville tonight, because I am an Orville fan. Again, make sure that string is in its bridge groove, if you will. And I'm probably going to wash my hands a little bit before I finish Now, I'll wait. I'll do the wipe down of the top, the sides, the back, the guitar, the back of the neck, and the back of the headstock, and the tuners, and then I'll wash my hands, and then we'll proceed with the setup. There's a little bit of sticking out of material on the strings. Somebody didn't quite cut them close enough. So I'm going to cure that problem by cutting them close, because that's what I do. And I do that for one of two reasons. Primary reason, to keep the guitar in tune, and secondary reason, if you happen to run your hand or your forearm or whatever across it, you're not going to get poked and stuck with string poking out. I hate that. I did that a couple of weeks ago on a guitar that I bought from a customer, and it had about 1/8 of an inch of string protruding out for each one, and I happened to just ever so slightly graze my this finger across it on this string, and it was an unwound string, and it went clear through my skin and hit the bone, and that's not good. So it's been difficult for me to play piano or guitar the past couple of weeks. I was not a happy camper, to say the least. So there was that.
Did you believe he had forgotten you? We're going to respond.
Next thing we do is we take a couple of flat, non-knurled needle nose, and we crimp the leading edge of the string that goes in. So that way it's tightly wrapped around the tuner peg. And we do that to each one and make sure it's all close, because we don't want any tuning issues with this. And I am notoriously known throughout the whole state of California, and I'm not kidding about this, for people bringing me guitars that they cannot keep in tune or tune in the first place. And they bring it to me, and I do a setup on it, and their guitar stays in tune, 70 to 90% of the time. So there is that. Okay. So I'm going to change the camera a bit.
Don't you think you're being a little silly?
And see if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or criticisms in the chat. And there aren't any. Hello? I see several people there in chat. Hello, welcome, thank you for your support. And we will take the rag that's already pre-impregnated with polish and wax, and we will proceed to remove the dirt, dust, and fingerprints from the guitar. You don't want to rub hard. You just want to rub, and that's it. And then I'll stand up after this and check my work, if you will. And I will have this guitar back up for sale on my website, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, classifiedads.com, and secondhandaxe.com for $280 to $300. And it is well worth that, because this guitar is a little bit rare in that it's a cherry burst, and the cherry burst versions of this guitar seem to be a little bit more elusive than the other guitars. So there is that. Hey, I can see all the fingerprints and smudges removed. It's pretty good, so we will go ahead and flip this sucker over, do the back and then the sides and then the back of the neck, and then polish the tuners. And we'll get this guitar resold to a very happy new owner. And this is a good student guitar or young child guitar. I would say this is a good guitar for a young child, the ages from maybe say 7 or 8 to 10 or 12, because it's not overly large. It's not a large scale guitar at all. It's quite small. So there is that. And you can breathe your breath on a guitar like that. You can get any problematic spots, but you don't want to put polish to this. The minute I put polish to this, it's going to start to brighten it up. Now, it won't put a gleaming polish on it like on a Ferrari or something, but it will start to brighten up that satin finish. And I kind of have a love-hate relationship with satin finish guitars, because the minute you start touching them and fingering them, you start to wear away that satin finish. So it's kind of a love-hate thing with that, if you will. I know that's kind of hard to explain, but it is what it is. So if you just lightly go back and forth with your rag, and if you have a problem spot, you can do that like you do when you clean a pair of glasses, to kind of condensate them up or steam them up a little bit. And you can get, there was a real harsh fingerprint right here, and now it's gone just because I went and then gently wiped it like this, and now it's gone. It's absolutely gone. So there is that. Now we'll flip it over and do the other side of the sides, if you will. And there's a mark right there. So just go like this, and then very gently wipe. You don't want to go all crazy. You want to go just the weight of your hand and the weight of your rag, and then go straight. And then guess what? It's gone. It's 100% gone, that area that was there. And there's one there. See, now that's gone. There was more. There was two that were there. Now they're gone. They're 100% gone. So now we'll do the tops, and then we'll do the back of the neck, and then back of the headstock, and then polish the tuners, and then we will be into doing the setup on. Oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. See, no problem. So if you know how to work with a satin finish guitar, you will more likely than not have issues doing it. So it takes a little bit of skill to learn how to work with them, but it's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal to learn how to work with cleaning and maintaining a satin finished guitar. It really isn't. And we've got about a half hour left, and we're at 53 minutes. I'm pretty sure I can finish this guitar by that time frame, so I'm not worried about it. There we go. We'll hold down the guitar so we're not jostling it around. You don't want to go hard, because if you go too hard, you'll put striation marks in the satin finish back and forth. You just want to go the weight of your finger or the weight of your hand, weight of your rag, this. That's it. You don't want to go any more than that. Because the minute you do is the minute you create problems. Then you don't want problems, issues, or glitches. So we're going to go ahead and polish the back of the tuners now. I will move the camera view so you can see what you're doing, which I should have done before, but I didn't. There we go. Ooh, a little tiny bit more. You want to be very careful not to touch your polish or wax to the satin finish, or you will polish a little tiny reminder of your mistake into the satin finish. So you just kind of take your time and bide your time. Don't go too fast, not too slow, so you don't go whoops, and then you've got a long streak that every time you look at it will remind you of your mistake. You don't want that, believe me. I've had people come to me and tell me they made that exact same mistake, and they sold a $500 guitar for $100 just because they hated looking at their mistake that they made. It's like, wow, man. Now, if I really wanted to be extra super careful, I could put a cutout paper template and put it over it and polish the tuners, or I could take the tuners off and polish them individually. That I would do if this were a $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 Taylor or Martin. Then I would do that. I would take each tuner off and polish them individually. But this is not a $1,000 guitar, so I don't need to do that. Just one of those things. This is a guitar I'll get $280, $300 for, and that's it. And I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm only into this guitar for $200. So I'm making some money, but I'm not making a killing on it. After all my labor and everything, I may be making $20, $30. So it's not like, this is just one of those guitars where I'm not making a killing on it. I'm fine with that. But if I do this on 20 guitars at the end of a year, then I'm making $2,000. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. I'm not making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff like this, guitars like this. I'm just not. I wish, but I'm not. And I'm fine with that. So let's go ahead and flip this baby over. And we already did the top of the headstock, so all we need to do is the top of the tuners. And then we can start with setup on it. and then we will be done. So, make sure this guitar, this rag has some polish left on it,
You should be aware I've been ill recently.
and just kind of polish the tops and sides and bottoms of the tuner,
Time for me to recover it,
and that's it.
assuming it's even possible.
And then we go a little bit on the top of each tuner,
My father's a man of influence. He knows the finest doctors, probably.
and then that's it. Now you don't want your polishing rag sopping wet with polish or
Fighting to the death.
wax, because then you're going to drip it all over, and you're going to wipe it off, and you're going to make marks on it, and then you'll be kicking yourself for 6 months because you didn't listen to
Whatever's necessary.
how I said to do this. So that being said, I'm going to sit down because my back is killing me. For one thing, I'm going to move the camera view
She retired.
for you guys.
She was asked to resign.
And then I think I'm going to wash my hands, take a quick bathroom break to the little guitarist's room, and then we'll start with the tuning. And I'm going to double check the action, make sure I don't need to raise it or lower it a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
I'd want you to be happy.
We should go.
This Saturday, we think you should stay at home.
You're serious, aren't you?
And turn on H&I. The clock starts with 3 hours of MacGyver. Then punch in with back-to-back eps of martial law. After that, enter the mind of a man who can become anyone he wants with 2 hours of The Pretender.
Cool.
All day Saturday, starting at 11:10 Central.
It's a pleasure to be here.
On H&I.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days,
Hey there.
hey there, it seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses. Good morning. Morning. But, what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these, flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. And watch this. When you don't need them, the lenses flip up and out of the way. Then, snap right back into place when it gets bright again. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. But don't take my word for it. Check out what these people have to say. Take a look at the screen and tell what you see.
Nothing. Just blank.
Nothing. There's nothing there.
Absolutely nothing.
Put down those tack glasses and look again. Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. There was nothing, and then it just appears an American Eagle. It's absolutely insane.
See that factor on the bottom right there?
Land is free and home brave. Bless America.
Okay, so we're all washed up.
On the golf course.
I might have to open up a window or two in here because it is a little bit warm in here. It's 76.5 degrees in here. A little bit warm. You guys know me. I'd rather be cold. I'd rather be actually cold than warm or hot. But I digress on that. So, okay. So, I don't normally use a tuner, but I will because there's a little bit of extracurricular noise outside right now. And it's kind of interfering with my ear. We got some neighbors celebrating a wedding or something. Well, not or something, wedding. And you can hear their cheers and music and everything, so it's a little bit harder to concentrate, so I'm going to use an external tuner. which 90+% of the time I do not use a tuner. I tune by ear. But this will help, so just for the sake of doing it. So whoops, I'm sorry. Even if I were to mute my TV now, it wouldn't be enough because I hear the commotion outside. Generally, I like to harmonically tune guitars, especially with acoustics, because it gives you well, not a little, in my opinion, it gives you a lot more accurate tuning when you harmonically tune as opposed to open string or doing it harmonically like that. Now listen. There we go. Pick it up and we'll give it a test play. perfectly tuned. And we will double check the intonation. There's not a whole lot you can do for the intonation, because the intonation's already kind of set in the guitar. But we will double check it. Oh yeah, it's good. Perfect. Oh yeah. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, perfectly tuned and intonated guitar. Again, this is a 2004 Art Lutherie, made in Canada, of cherry wood, and yeah, made in Canada. Rosewood fretboard, mother of pearl inlays. Not a high-end guitar, but pretty good. And this is kind of semi-rare or uncommon in the cherry burst. When I did a Google search and a Yahoo search today, and searched on Reverb and Secondhand Axe and eBay and other places to find a cherry burst version of this, there were literally none. So that tells me that the guitar is, if anything, at least moderately rare in this color, if you will. I got a little bit of piece of rag that's attached itself to the guitar here, so I need to pick it up with a razor blade. It's wrapped itself around the high E string here. So if you take a razor blade in your finger and go like this, that little wrapping around of that any rag you may have used will come pretty well right off. And it is gone. So yes, I just picked this guitar up today from my friend Kevin. My dear, wonderful, famously awesome friend Kevin. So I will get $280 to $300 for this guitar. They're not too common, but it's a quality instrument. I would not obviously say it's the quality of a $1,000 Taylor or Martin, obviously, or Ovation, but it is pretty darn good. I see no problems, issues, or glitches with this guitar at all in any way, shape, or form. It's a good student guitar in that it's a little bit shorter scale, a little bit smaller. It's not a full-size dreadnought or a full-size, acoustic. So it's very good for a student or a young person or a teenager to learn on. And here's the guitar with it all cleaned up, looking pretty. I think I'm going to put 300 on it. I think that's pretty fair. All the ones that I see that are just plain Jane brown, or plain Jane black, or plain Jane whatever other color, are bringing $240 to $300. So I think this one at $280 to $300 is not unreasonable or out of the realm of possibility for this guitar. So I will take pictures of this tomorrow, and it will be up on my Klasic Guitar Facebook page and Twitter and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and secondhandaxe.com and classifiedads.com. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It's a really cool guitar, and I'm pretty happy with it. It was very easy to work on, very quick. We're into this for an hour and 10 minutes. That's pretty good. A guitar like this that's just a satin finish, there's not much to polish on it, there's not much to fix on it or refine on it or adjust on it. These type of guitars usually go very fast for me, an hour, hour and 10, hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and a half on the high side. The strings are new. I didn't have to replace everything. The pegs are good. The bridge is good. The strings are good. The tuners were good. Everything was good on it. I took it out into my shop before I started my string and blew out the sound hole and got out any dust or wood chips or dust bunnies. So I always do that. The nut is good. It's a good quality nut that's kind of one of those lubed nuts or pre-lubed nuts, if you will. Kind of a Graphtec type nut, if you will. So that being said, it's got this nice little design around the sound hole. That's pretty cool. The edge of the frets and fretboard are really rounded, so you've got nothing to, grab you or stick into you. So it's pretty good that way. I'm really happy with this guitar. And this isn't the first Art and Lutherie that I've owned. I've owned several of these before. Not many. I would say between 8 and 12 that I've owned of these. They're kind of a semi-unknown manufacturer and maker, but I'm pretty happy with it. So it's pretty darn nice. I like it.
The best thing is to show your face and remind people that there are aliens who don't want to blow up the planet.
I can't blame those men for the way they reacted. Earth has survived a horrific attack.
Let's see, one little string end that I can take a little bit more off of. It was only about a millimeter, but that's okay. And it didn't adjust, it didn't affect the tuning, so. Oops, I'm sorry. So listen to that ring out of the guitar. It's got a nice sound, and it's really good quality. So I am really happy with it.
Your actions, while being morally questionable, were necessary.
Okay.
I opposed your appointment as captain of Enterprise, but it's obvious now.
So yeah, it's a nice piece. I am quite happy with it. Quite happy with it. So I see no problem getting $380, or excuse me, $280 to $300 for it. I'm gonna put 3 on it. If somebody offers me $380, $375, I'll take it. Probably, maybe. But yeah.
These clothes belonged to my husband.
Excuse me.
Too well.
Aren't you bothered by the fact that Paul doesn't even care for this guy?
She's fulfilling her family obligation.
So, there we have it, folks.
I met my husband only when we always joined. In time, we developed a deep connection to each other.
So, not bad for a 15-year-old guitar. I mean, if you look at it, and I asked somebody to estimate how old it is, they would probably say a year or 2 or 3 or less. Because, I mean, it is clean. And for not the striation marks of the pick, when you pick on the pick guard, you could almost call the guitar new condition. No, I'm not going to advertise it as that, obviously. I can't because it's 2004. But it is an almost new condition. Almost new condition. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with it. Tomorrow's guitar is probably going to be that Harmonia 335 style copy guitar. It's in really good condition. So I'm probably going to do that one tomorrow night. And that's probably going to go for about the same price, about $280, $300. It's in really good condition. Pretty much in the same condition as this guitar. And it's by a company called Harmonia. And I think it's a prototype guitar or a very low run guitar. So it'll be a good alternative to somebody paying $500, $600, $700 for an Epiphone of the same caliber, or $1,000 to $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for a Gibson. So that one for $300 is going to be a really good deal for somebody. And again, it's called a Harmonia, and it's like a Gibson or Epiphone 335 copy. So we will do that guitar tomorrow. We will do that on the morrow. I'll flip this over so you can see the back of it real quick, just to see the purtiness of the cherry wood. And it's all indigenous woods, made from indigenous woods of Canada. So it's a really cool piece. So yeah, it looks like it was made in 2004 in June, and it is number 3644 according to the serial number. And I'm very astute at reading serial numbers and knowing how to read them and decipher them. So yeah. I'll give you a little side view there real quick. I am quite happy with this guitar.
smelling freshness, try new Febreze One.
I'm really glad my friend Kevin brought me this today. And I traded him today this guitar along with 2 other guitars for a Epiphone limited edition custom shop Joe Pass hollow body. So he gave me this guitar, and then he gave me a 1960s Les Paul Jr. copy guitar with a gold foil pickup in it, and that Harmonia guitar. So it was a pretty even trade. I might make an extra $150 above and beyond what I would have sold the Epiphone for, and I'm fine with that, because he's a really cool guy and a really good friend of mine, and he really wanted that Epiphone Joe Pass, so I was more than happy to oblige him with the trade. I really was. So we'll go ahead and end this video in a couple of minutes.
What ye are about to witness comes down from the time of the beginning without change. This is the Vulcan heart. This is the Vulcan soul. This is our way.
Thank you everyone for joining me on this classic guitar video on this Art and Lutherie Canadian-made acoustic guitar. Again, the show is brought to you by Guitar Center of Glendora. Check them out; they're really great people. And this guitar went without any issues, problems, issues, or glitches, and I'm really happy about that. And I'm going to go ahead and relist it for sale tomorrow at $300. I'm going to list it at $300. That's very fair, considering the quality of it and the woods that it's made of, and the tone and intonation quality and tune quality of all that. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time, and happy guitaring.